This ebook is brought to you by Agenvard 1998. Unity and Self-Consistency of Personality. The third tenet of Adlerian theory is, personality is unified and self-consistent. In choosing the term individual psychology, Adler wished to stress his belief that each person is unique and indivisible. Thus, individual psychology insists on the fundamental unity of personality and the notion that inconsistent behavior does not exist. Thoughts, feelings, and actions are all directed toward a single goal and serve a single purpose. When people behave erratically or unpredictably, their behavior forces other people to be on the defensive, to be watchful so as not to be confused by capricious actions. Although behaviors may appear inconsistent, when they are viewed from the perspective of a final goal, they appear as clever but probably unconscious attempts to confuse and subordinate other people. This confusing and seemingly inconsistent behavior gives the erratic person the upper hand in an interpersonal relationship. Although erratic people are often successful in their attempt to gain superiority over others, they usually remain unaware of their underlying motive and may stubbornly reject any suggestion that they desire superiority over other people. Adler recognized several ways in which the entire person operates with unity and self-consistency. The first of these he called organ jargon, or organ dialect. Organ dialect. According to Adler, the whole person strives in a self-consistent fashion toward a single goal, and all separate actions and functions can be understood only as parts of this goal. The disturbance of one part of the body cannot be viewed in isolation, it affects the entire person. In fact, the deficient organ expresses the direction of the individual's goal, a condition known as organ dialect. Through organ dialect, the body's organs speak a language which is usually more expressive and discloses the individual's opinion more clearly than words are able to do. One example of organ dialect might be a man suffering from rheumatoid arthritis in his hands. His stiff and deformed joints voice his whole style of life. It is as if they cry out, "See my deformity. See my handicap. You can't expect me to do manual work." Without an audible sound, his hands speak of his desire for sympathy from others. Adler presented another example of organ dialect, the case of a very obedient boy who wet the bed at night to send a message that he does not wish to obey parental wishes. His behavior is really a creative expression, for the child is speaking with his bladder instead of his mouth. Conscious and unconscious. A second example of a unified personality is the harmony between conscious and unconscious actions. Adler defined the unconscious as that part of the goal that is neither clearly formulated nor completely understood by the individual. With this definition, Adler avoided a dichotomy between the unconscious and the conscious, which he saw as two cooperating parts of the same unified system. Conscious thoughts are those that are understood and regarded by the individual as helpful in striving for success, whereas unconscious thoughts are those that are not helpful. We cannot oppose consciousness to unconsciousness as if they were antagonistic halves of an individual's existence. The conscious life becomes unconscious as soon as we fail to understand it, and as soon as we understand an unconscious tendency it has already become conscious. Whether people's behaviors lead to a healthy or an unhealthy style of life depends on the degree of social interest that they developed during their childhood years.